Here's something most people are never told. It isn't the volume you lose first, it's the clarity. And when clarity fades, your brain quietly begins to starve. If that sentence made you pause, stay with me, because if you're over 50, this may already be happening without you realizing it. You might still hear sounds. You hear the television, you hear traffic, you hear people talking, but something feels different. Words blur together. Conversations in restaurants feel exhausting. You ask people to repeat themselves, not because they're quiet, but because you can't quite separate the sounds. At night, you replay conversations in your head and wonder, was it me or were they mumbling? If this feels familiar, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not failing. Your body is communicating with you. I want you to stay until the end of this video because the most important part isn't about hearing aids or tests. It's about protecting your brain, your memory, and your sense of connection as you age. Let me start with a story I hear again and again. A woman in her early 60s tells me she stopped going to her weekly coffee group, not because she didn't like her friends, but because following the conversation became tiring. By the time she got home, she felt drained, irritable, and oddly sad. She thought she was becoming antisocial. She wasn't. Her brain was working overtime just to decode sound. A man in his 70s says he watches television with subtitles now. The volume is loud enough, but voices don't sound sharp anymore. He jokes about it, but late at night he worries. Is this just aging or something worse? These quiet worries matter, because hearing loss isn't just about ears, it's about the brain. Let me explain this simply. Your ears don't actually hear, they collect sound and send it to the brain. The brain does the real work. It sorts voices from noise, it recognizes words, it attaches meaning and emotion. When sound arrives fuzzy instead of clear, the brain has to guess, and guessing takes energy. Over time, when the brain receives less clear sound, it gets less stimulation. Certain brain areas become less active, not broken, just underused, like muscles that aren't exercised. This is why researchers have observed something concerning. Untreated hearing changes are linked to faster brain shrinkage over time. Not overnight, not dramatically, quietly, gradually. And here's the part most people miss. This can happen even when hearing loss feels mild, especially after 50. Why does this become more common as we age? First, the tiny hair cells in the inner ear naturally wear down. They don't regenerate easily. This affects high-frequency sounds first, consonants like S, T, F, and K. These sounds give speech its clarity. Without them, words blend together. Second, blood flow changes with age. The inner ear and the brain both depend on good circulation. Conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or even long-term stress can reduce that flow. Third, medications matter. Many common prescriptions, including some for blood pressure, infections, or pain, can subtly affect hearing over time. This doesn't mean stop any medication. It means awareness matters. Fourth, sleep. Poor sleep affects how the brain processes sound. If you've noticed hearing feels worse when you're tired, that's not in your head. It's your nervous system asking for rest. And finally, lifestyle. Years of background noise, televisions always on, traffic, power tools, even loud restaurants. The brain slowly adapts by tuning out details. That adaptation can become a problem later. Now, let me reassure you about something very important. This is not a sign that your brain is going. It's a sign your brain is working harder than it should, and the earlier you respond, the more you protect it. Stay with me because the next part is where things become hopeful. What actually helps? First, acknowledgement. Not panic, not denial, simply noticing. If you're asking people to repeat themselves more often, if group conversations feel tiring, if you avoid noisy places, these are signals worth respecting. Second, sound exposure with intention. Many people do the opposite. They withdraw. They turn down social interaction because it's uncomfortable. Unfortunately, that reduces brain stimulation even more. Instead, gentle engagement matters. One-on-one conversations, quiet environments, clear speech. These keep the brain active without overwhelming it. Third, hearing checks. Not because you're old, but because baseline information is powerful. A hearing test doesn't label you, it informs you. Even small changes are useful to know. And no, getting tested does not mean you must get hearing aids. It means you're giving your brain data. If you've been avoiding this step, that's understandable. Many people associate hearing support with stigma, but modern hearing care is about brain health, not weakness. Fourth, reduce listening strain. This is practical and simple. Turn off background noise when talking. Face people when they speak. Improve lighting so your brain can use visual cues. Ask people to speak clearly, not louder. These small adjustments reduce cognitive load. Less guessing, less exhaustion. Fifth, nourish the nervous system. Your brain and ears rely on nutrients and circulation. Gentle movement, like walking, supports blood flow. Staying hydrated supports nerve function. Balanced meals support energy. This isn't about supplements or extremes, it's about consistency. Now, let me share something most people never hear. Ignoring hearing changes doesn't just affect memory, it affects mood. When the brain struggles to process sound, stress hormones rise, social misunderstandings increase, people withdraw without realizing why. Over time, this can look like anxiety or low mood, not because something is wrong with your personality, but because your brain is under strain. If this resonates, you're not alone, and you're not imagining it. At this point, if this video is helping you see your experience more clearly, consider liking or subscribing, not as a favor to me, but as a way to keep calm, trustworthy guidance like this coming into your life. Now, let's talk gently about hearing support. Hearing aids are tools, not cures, not miracles, tools. For some people, they restore clarity enough to reduce brain strain. For others, environmental adjustments and communication strategies are enough for now. The key is timing. Waiting too long makes the brain adapt to less sound. Earlier support helps the brain stay engaged. If you already use hearing aids and still feel tired after conversations, adjustments may be needed. This is common. Settings matter. Comfort matters. Your experience matters. Always involve a hearing professional. Never adjust or change devices without guidance. And if you're on medications or have medical conditions, discuss hearing changes with your healthcare provider. Some causes are reversible, some are manageable. All deserve attention. Let me offer a gentle daily habit that supports clarity. Create one intentional listening moment each day. Sit with someone you trust, or listen to an audiobook or radio program at a comfortable volume. Focus on the words, no multitasking, no background noise. This is not training or therapy, it's nourishment. Just like walking nourishes muscles, focused listening nourishes the brain. Safety note: if you experience sudden hearing loss, ringing in one ear, dizziness, or pain, seek medical attention promptly. These are not typical aging changes. Now I want to speak to the quiet fear many people carry. The fear that hearing changes mean cognitive decline is inevitable. That is not true. Your brain is adaptive. It responds to stimulation. It responds to care. It responds to being listened to, literally and figuratively. This is not about reversing time. It's about supporting what you have. And you have more influence than you think. Before we finish, I encourage you to share this video with a spouse, sibling, or friend who might be quietly struggling. Many people suffer in silence because they don't want to worry others. This conversation can open a door. And if you'd like ongoing, calm guidance about aging, hearing, memory, and overall senior health, subscribe to this channel, not for fear, for understanding. Let me leave you with this. Your body is not betraying you. Your brain is not shrinking because you failed.
It's responding to the signals it receives. When you restore clarity, even gently, you restore connection with others, with the world, with yourself. There is still so much sound worth hearing, and your brain wants to stay part of it. Thank you for being here. Subscribe for steady, compassionate senior health guidance you can trust.